Good morning, Year 3. Miss Smith here with your third day of English, and happy Friday. Now we're going to continue with our story today, and we've got two more plot points to look at where we're continuing with the little boy and his mother who have had to escape from their home. So let's get in. Okay, so this is our first plot point today, and we are focusing on this rucksack here. It will all make sense in just a second. So once again, we have got two initiates for this first plot point. So we're going to focus on our basics and our punctuation. So let's start with our basics. So what I'd like us to do here is really simply collect a bunch of adjectives that we could use to describe the rucksack. So pause the video here, and in your first box of the day, write down all of those adjectives for me, please. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to write down some adjectives. So here are the ones that I came up with, and I'm sure you've got plenty more. So I've got green, small, and worn down as well. So to really get that idea that this little boy and his mother maybe don't have a lot of money, they're having to move because they live in such a terrible environment, kind of things like that. Okay, our second initiates, we are going to have a look at punctuation. Now, we're thinking here about what would you pack, and I want you to have a think about what punctuation you need to use as well. So when you're writing a list, which I want you to do in just a second, think about what you might need to include between each of those nouns. So pause the video here and write your list of what have you packed. Okay, so when you are writing a list, you need to make sure that you are including commas. So I have included things like teddy, comma, clothes, comma, picture. And remember, when it's the last thing in the list as well, you have to put and I'm going to take some water with me as well. Now, these are really basic lists, so we want to think about using our adjectives when we're writing this list as well to make it exciting. So I'm going to show you the model that I have created for this plot point here. So we're going to talk about the fact here that we had to start packing. You only had a tiny little rucksack. You don't have a removal van or anything like that. You are having to flee from your home because it is so dangerous. So imagine right now that mum and dad said you've got 5 minutes to pack and then we need to leave. So that's kind of what this little boy has had to do. He can't take a huge great suitcase with him. They've really got no idea where they're going. So this is my paragraph here. Later that week, we started packing. We were only able to take things we could carry as it would be a long journey. My small green rucksack was all I could manage. So I stuffed it full of clothes, a picture of me and my friends, a few tins of food, and hung my favourite teddy bear, Mr. Orange, on the strap. I couldn't leave him behind. So I've started with my time adverb here. I've also included my adjectives to describe my rucksack. And this is what I filled it with. I didn't say clothes, picture, food, teddy. I described those things a little bit better, but it's still a list. So I still need to put my commas and then my and as well. Okay. You can name your teddy whatever you fancy. I really don't mind, but let's take him along with us because he might be important later on as well. So pause the video here. You've got about 10 minutes to write your paragraph about what you had to do, why you couldn't take very much, and then some of the things that you packed as well. Okay, so hopefully we all managed to write our lovely paragraph about all the little things that we packed. We are now going to move on to our second set of our second plot point. So this is our next plot point, our third plot point in total. So this is our character, this is us here, and we're having to leave where we are. So we actually go and say goodbye to our friends here, and I think we can really tell the emotion that this little boy is going through, and he's always got Mr. Orange with him as well. So we're going to focus on two initiates. The first one we're going to have a look at is our action. So what actually happened? What were the characters doing? So what I'd like you to do in your third box of today is come up with some ing words, so some doing words, to tell me what the little boy did the last time he saw his friends. So was it crying, running, jumping, all those things that end in ing? Can you make a list for me on your third box? Okay, so I've come up with a few ideas here. Now, what we're going to try and do is start the sentence with an ing word as well to make it a bit different and really exciting for the reader. So I came up with things like hugging, waving, and crying as well because he looks really, really upset. But having said that, he's not going to be a blubbering mess. In our second initiate here, the boy is upset, but he doesn't want his friends to remember him crying all the time for the very last time. So he actually tries and hides his emotions. So thinking about feelings, when you're really upset, what do you do to try and not show people that you're upset? You might try and brush it off and actually show that you're okay to give them a big smile, especially if you're not going to see them for a while. So in your fourth box, can you write down some ways that the little boy might hide being upset, please? Okay, let's see what we came up with. So I said he held back the tears. Maybe he took a deep breath. Maybe he wiped his eyes really subtly. Just something that we know he's upset, but hides the fact that he's upset as well. So it's a really tricky one, but it's a really advanced thing if we can manage to do it. So let's have a look at our model today. So as I looked up at the house, I examined the old brick walls and cracked windows. I took a picture in my head to remember the house I grew up in. Across the road, my friends were waiting to say goodbye. Hugging them made my lip tremble, but I took a deep breath and held back the tears. I didn't want their last memory of me to be when I was upset. So we've gone for a lot more writing here. We're moving it up a little bit. So I want us to start off by writing about saying goodbye to the house. So describe the house a little bit. I've used my adjectives here. I've used an adverbial phrase to tell me what I was doing. I've then also talked about seeing my friends, where I saw them, and then telling me what I did with them and starting with that ing word at the beginning. And then, of course, showing the fact that I'm upset but hiding that. So it's a lot to fit into this paragraph. I understand that. So maybe you might need a little bit more than 10 minutes. Whatever you need, you can pause the video and do it. So let's just really quickly write the few things that we need to do. So you need to describe the house. Where do you see your friends? What do you do? And that ing word at the beginning. And then hiding that you are upset. So there's 4 things that you need to do in this sentence. So a little bit more than usual. But really focus on that because that will make your writing amazing. Extend it, make it interesting. Don't go any further with the story. He's not going to leave. We don't know where he's going yet. He's just having that opportunity to say goodbye. So pause the video for 10 minutes or as long as you need and then come back to me when you finish today. Okay, so that was your second part of this story, and I hope that we are enjoying it. Feeling really sorry for this character, actually. I'm not sure what's going on with him or where he's going to end up. If he can't carry very much, has he got very much money? We're going to have to find out. Continue to upload anything that you have written onto that folder that we talked about in Teams, the English story. Just keep writing from yesterday, or if not, just take a picture and put it on Tapestry. See you next week, guys. Have a lovely weekend.